Hi.
Hi.
So this is week 3. We've done the cast on in week 1. We did the knitting in week 2. Sounds funny because we're really knitting and knittings, but that's a stitch called a knit stitch. And this week we are going to do the second stitch. I think there's a knit stitch and there's a purl stitch. That's right. Is that right, James, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we're doing the purl stitch, which I think looks a lot prettier when you're done with it. And do you want me to say how you do it?
Why don't you, yeah, because let's see, I mean, everybody, you go ahead and you know, say how you do it. And then if, I should think it's the same, basically the same. And then we're
So when you're purling, you want to do a row of normal knitting and then a row of purling to make it look like the purl stitch. So you do a row of normal knitting and then you do a row of purling.
And then you do that order like you do normal.
And you repeat it. You do a row of knitting, a row of purling, a row of knitting, a row of purling.
right. So then you get the smooth look.
Yeah.
Then, right? Yeah. And I'm not going to be able to do, yeah, I'm with you. Okay. So I'm a row behind. I need, yeah. Okay. Mine isn't going to look perfect, but that's the purpose. But yours is going to look perfect.
Okay, so
we're going to do the purl row first? Or knit first?
Knit.
Knit row first, good. So we'll do a knit row first, which we did last week. So why don't you, can you hold it up and show everybody, like, because I'm.
Yeah, I think Carolyn and I were both doing a knitting row right now, a regular.
Yeah, I just did one row. I'm ready to purl.
Right, so I think everybody that's on today can do a knit row, exactly. Let me just take back a row because I did a purl row at the wrong time.
Jolie, can I see how much you've done? You already got the, or you're already at the lighter part.
No, for mine, I think it started at the lighter part.
Yeah.
James just started dark.
Mine started dark.
Mine goes
Or
from
she used the end of it.
Oh, okay.
Worked for me.
You've been knitting at home, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, you did all of that in 1 week, so that was good. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I'm ready if when everybody else is ready, I'm ready for the purl row, James.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so we're just knitting our row really quickly.
Okay, so basically it's putting the needle in a different part of the stitch on the needle from the row you just did. So you actually put the needle in the front of the stitch. Is that right, James? Is that how you would do it?
Yeah, you put the rope, the string that you are knitting with in front of your needle when you put it in. It's like the opposite of knitting.
Right, and then you're right. So you have the wool on yours towards you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you put the needle in the front of the stitch, right?
Yeah, so in knitting, you want to have it behind. So when you put it in the loop, the rope is behind it. But in purling, you want the rope to be closer to you and you put it in instead of in from the bottom, you put it in from the top.
Okay. So the wool is facing you. It's facing you. Now it's on this row. Before it was this way, going away from you. This purl row, you have the wool towards you, right?
But do you
and then you put the needle in the front of the stitch. Go around the needle and then take it off.
I could show from the angle I did last week if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Because this might be easier.
Water bottle. Okay, so
nice view of our living room.
So when you're knitting, you want this to be in the back when you put it in, but in purling, you need to make sure that the rope is in front of your stitch, so it stays in front, and you put the needle in the top, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm used to laying it on something, and you wrap it around this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you pull it off, you do normal knitting, but it's literally like the opposite. You pull it off like that. and off.
Can you do
And
it
then
one
that's
more
one.
time?
So now it's automatically in the front. So to make it easier, you put it in this way onto the front, wrap it around, and you make sure it stays on and take the loop off.
Yeah. James, when you're doing it, if people are watching, your fingers are very close to the stitch that you're going to push off, you know?
Yeah, I keep my
Not,
fingers
not
pretty
about here,
close.
but very close to the stitch you're going to be working with.
Yeah,
That gives you good control. Right, exactly.
I'm used to laying it down on my stomach though, so this is a little harder.
Really? That's a new way.
And then that's 3. And then you just keep doing that. Is that good?
James, could you do it a few more stitches and just, I know it's just repetitive, but just repeat it every time with that same explanation you just did for 3 or 4 more stitches?
The difference in the 2 types of stitches is where your wool or rope is, you know, and
Yeah.
the part of the stitch that you put your needle into. And that
So
makes it a little different, yeah.
So you go in from the top, wrap it around from the back, and you pull the stitch right off. So in from the top, around, and off.
Now, how are the girls doing? Do they feel that they've got a hang of it, or are they?
I think I'm doing pretty well. I think James should finish the row though.
Yeah, just keep knitting. I can't do it because I finished mine. Do you want to? Do you want the next row to be a knit row, James?
Yeah, it has to be a knit row if you want it to.
If you want to show them the difference in the look, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Want to keep
If you want me to, turn the camera back around and start going quick, so I could show what it looks like.
Okay, if the girls are, how are the girls doing?
I think I got it. I mean, Carolyn, be honest. Do you think you understand?
Starting to finish, just that I put mine finished. So I'll wait.
I actually have a question for James. When you go through, you pull it to the front, and then do you?
No, you go
Put it
in.
back
You go
under?
in from the top. In from the top, not in.
Okay, so you go in from the top, and then show very slowly, and then what do you do next? You wrap this.
You wrap the rope from under to over.
Okay, then I understand that. Then where do you go from there?
You do the same thing as knitting. You pull it off while keeping this loop on and pull it off.
Okay, that actually makes more sense. Do you understand that more, Carolyn?
Yeah, I got that. Perfect.
That's helpful, Jolie. Thank you for slowing him down like that. That's very helpful.
No problem.
Okay. The purl row, because I'm ready to do the knit row. Otherwise, next time I'll do it. When you get to the end.
Sorry, say that again. What did you say?
Oh, I was going to say I can't do the purl row because we want to do the knit row next, and I finished my purl row, but I should have 2 sets of knitting here, I think.
Yeah. So the next row would be knitting, James said.
Yeah, and that should be an easy row. We'll all do a knit row next, and then I'll work with you on the purl row.
Carolyn, you want to show us how you're doing purling? Can you hold it up to the camera? So maybe James and Valerie can have a look at your technique and see if it's correct.
I'm gonna do this. Okay.
Well, I mean, you're getting the stitches off the needle.
That.
Is she going to turn it around?
Okay.
Okay.
Right here.
Yeah. Go in. Yeah. Go in from the front. The wool is at your. Yeah. There you go. Wrap it around, and take it off. Perfect. Is that right, James? I think that looks good.
Yeah. I think I taught it correct, but I think when I wrap around the yarn, you're supposed to go from the top, not the bottom. I just realized because when I was doing it, it's like it was really hard. It feels really hard to do it that way. And I remember I think you're supposed to go.
So can you show it from the top? Show it again. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, my bad. So you're supposed to when you do it, you do
Yeah.
the same thing I said, but you
Right.
don't go around this way. You go around this
So you
way.
go over the top. Yeah.
Yeah,
You go over the top.
I said this way, but you go around the top.
Oh.
Makes it a lot easier, I think. You're right. Yeah, over the top. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
so I might have to restart this one.
through and over the top. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
through, over.
Does that make it easier for you girls?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This makes a lot more sense.
And then you knit one.
There
Exactly.
we go.
Okay. Sorry. So now we've got the correct procedure.
Yeah.
There we go. This makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it's really basically the same as a knit stitch, except you're doing it a different back to front or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you finish, you're going to do the knit row, and everybody's pretty good on the knit row, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valerie, what a pretty color you have on.
Oh, thank you. I love that color somehow. I just needed it today to wear when I came
Good on
home.
you.
I do. It's at one time I needed it to match something, and I went, suddenly found 3 little shirts in the right color, which doesn't happen very often, but it's a friendly color to wear. I think it's
And it matches your nails.
so how are we doing?
We're doing pretty well. Carolyn, how are you doing? I just messed up. I like unknitted it somehow.
Oh,
No, she's fine.
I'm good now.
I think I'm doing
when you
okay.
get an on stitch, it's really nice. Okay, hang on.
It's like knitting, but like I
Hold
don't
the
know.
number here when you're knitting.
I mean, it's fine, I guess. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think don't about the odd little oddity. It's fine.
If it messes, that's all part of the knitting. You mess up.
What about Jolie? How's Jolie
Got
doing?
it. Okay. You just explained it more because I was messing up. So I just did one for the first time. So I just keep thinking because it's like not opposite, but it's kind of opposite. It's from knitting, in my opinion. So.
It's so much easier if you're all sitting around the same table.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Long distance knitting is everything that's long distance is sort of different because you really want to put your hand out and help somebody.
Over the top. No, top.
Just pull it.
No. It's knitting. It's the same.
Do you knit, Gina?
Yes, I do. But my hands are so busy spotlighting people.
I mean, yeah. Oh.
But I don't purl. I've never learned to purl, so that's why I'm really studying the way James is teaching it.
It's funny how some people just know how to do the knit stitch and never. And once you've learned to do the 2 stitches, you really can do all sorts of different things. I mean, there really are 2 basic stitches in knitting.
I love the way it looks when you purl. It looks so pretty. The finished product is beautiful.
Yeah, that sort of smoothie look.
Yeah, it's like the fishtail pattern.
Oh, is it, James? I didn't know that.
It's the same on like Rainbow Loom. I used to know how to do that on Rainbow Loom.
I think somewhere in my little knitting basket.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Rainbow Loom is the fishtail pattern. I think that's a really good reference.
I mean, that's all knitting, right? That's what the effect of all knitting.
Yeah,
and
that's knitting.
the effect of when you do 1 row knit, 1 row purl, and it's really smoother and it's really pretty. And I think I did one with doing like 1 of each stitch somewhere, but maybe I can't find it in the basket. So you make different patterns by, using, no, that's not it. Like, oh, here's one. You see, that's called, I don't know in America, I don't know, it's in England, it's called moss stitch. And that's actually simply doing 1 stitch in knit and 1 stitch in purl. Knit, purl, knit, purl. And you end up getting that pretty pattern.
That looks really cool.
It's really a nice little pattern. And once you can do, the 2 stitches, you can do that. And then you can do the, the ribbing as well. Oh, this one you alternate, 1 row you do knit, purl, and then the next row you do purl, knit. But it's kind of a pretty, I don't know what it's called in America. Beehive, maybe, I don't know. But in England, it's called moss stitch. But
It's
I know
probably the same thing.
But that's all, it's only using, the ability to do one knitting and purling. So you can do, you can play around and create your own patterns if you want, once you can do it.
For me, I experienced purling is if you knit, I like to pull my yarn really hard. So if you purl really hard, it doesn't work. So you have to.
Oh, really?
She's knitting really tight.
Yeah, I like to knit really tightly. So it's.
Okay, yeah.
You have to be like.
People that knit tight are usually annoying.
Uptight people.
Maybe they're just perfectionists.
Difficult. But it's fun. It's fun.
Some people like things to look really neat and tidy, so maybe that's you, Jolie. Is that the way you look at the world? Like everything
Oh
else?
yes, for sure. Oh my gosh, for sure. I don't know if I like this purling this hard.
Oh, you don't have to do it. I mean, we just you could always.
Yeah, no, I think I just have to practice more.
But I think once you get, I think you would enjoy doing playing around with it, And actually, with your result is actually much prettier in a way than just doing the knit stitches. Yeah.
I like the way the moss stitch looks.
Yeah, you could do that easily. I mean, you really could.
Yeah, I feel like that's really it looks like more complicated doing one and one.
Well, yeah, it sort of is, but when you can do both, like you can, for you it would be easy. I mean, the only thing is to make sure that that every row you do the opposite way on. Try it next week maybe, or during the week, just see if you can do it. Can you? Yeah, I mean, I like it because it makes, I put it in when I do the things for the church, and I always like doing it because it kind of gives a texture to it. It's pretty, yeah. How are you doing, Miss Caroline?
Oh, I'm doing great. Great.
Okay.
That's sarcasm.
I think I don't.
Are you knitting it tightly like? Oh
I don't
gosh.
think purling is just my style yet.
Oh.
I just want to start over. That's okay.
I just don't want to start over because I just
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm just gonna see.
Well,
kind of like work with it.
If we do all purl rows, we're going to get the same effect as when we do all knitting, But if you want today, I mean, just practice purling, and then next week we'll break it up. Because until you get the feeling comfortable with the purling, it's just.
Yeah.
But it does give that, that nice flat effect.
Yeah. I mean, I think purling is once you get knitting down really nicely, and then you can start purling.
Yes, I think that is correct. That once you feel, I think once you've got that sense of putting the, the needle in and putting the wool around and then slipping the stitch off, that you're very confident with that, then you can start, trying different ways. Because it is just,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you look at me, I'm purling now. So if you can see, I'm putting the needle in the front, right? And I put it around. Now the next stitch, if I knit it, I put the needle in at the other side of it, the back, wrap it around and pull it up. So it's just the wool at the front for the purl. I'm putting, the needle in the front. I don't know what happens if you put the needle in at the back with that. You make a stitch, I think, actually. that maybe, if you forget and put your needle in at the wrong side of the stitch, you're going to make a stitch very nicely, which you don't want to do. We make it more complicated by talking about it sometimes, right?
Go.
Yeah, I just messed up, so I have to restart again.
Me too. I kind of decided to restart my whole thing. I took it all out.
Well, you're really inspirational after 3 classes. We're pulling everything out.
Listen, I'm just a perfectionist. It needs to be like perfect. So I'm okay with starting over. It doesn't really bother me.
that's okay. I mean, that's good. Some people are, exactly. I mean, you do what you feel you want to do, but
Yeah. I just want to get better with knitting because it's fun. When I'm watching TV, you can knit. When you're watching.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about if it's like a terrible weekend with all that rain, I could just sit and knit all the time because sometimes it's easier to knit than it is to read. That's the only thing I cannot knit and read. I can knit and watch TV and feel,
How do you knit and read?
I feel like I could do it.
I don't know if you can knit and read.
How do you flip the page?
Oh, that's true.
It's like
And it was like a Kindle, and it like read the pages for you, and you were reading.
You could. Yeah, that's an idea because it would be like a Zoom, and then you just press it for the next page.
Yeah.
Possibility.
like a lot of like tap. I don't know how fast you guys read books.
Yeah.
You would have to knit without looking.
I'm like, next.
Yeah, you'd have to be able to knit without looking for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I knit when I'm not looking, when I'm watching it on TV, but
Yeah.
You always look back down.
For me, whenever I'm knitting while I'm watching TV, if it's like a suspenseful TV show, it like I get I'm like waiting for something to happen. And I'm just like knitting like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to look at your knitting and look at the TV at the same time. So sometimes I kind of miss things. And maybe I missed all the stuff. But it makes me kind of feel, better about sitting and watching TV maybe for an hour or something. I am creating something else.
We cast on with 25, we said, or 20?
25 is good.
Nice.
Look how fast Valerie goes when she gets going.
It's crazy.
Oh, well, you see, the thing is, I do this. I took it under my arm.
Oh.
I think, it's a very, I was thinking about it because it's not something that many people do. And yet it makes it a very quick way, quick.
Why'd you take it off the bread?
Compared, now you see, look, I'm doing it the way we're all doing now. And you can't do it that fast. It's not possible. And I forget, you see, because I just normally do. Then I can go. Woo, 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 woo.
Carolyn!
That one's huge. That one was bigger than me.
Yeah, you were knitting way more than me. I knit. Look at that. It's okay.
Oh, honey.
The third lesson was
It's satisfying. Let it be satisfying. There you go. For everybody watching, trust me, we are good at this. We like doing this. It's fun.
It's the point you just start over again.
You just have to be okay with starting over.
I'm gonna do like, I don't know if you guys
I
can
think
tell.
this might have to be
Very
that's
like,
lovely. I mean,
like I wanted,
really
and
neat and nice. That was beautiful.
I just wanted a little what's it called? I just wanted a little tighter, like jolies.
You could have just cast it off,
Well, it's okay. We haven't learned that yet. We'll learn.
I'm not sure about this being a productive lesson. We might have to add another one and replace this one about pulling their work back. James, are you chugging along with your pearl stitches?
I kind of messed up twice, so I'm just now starting. I'll try to chug along.
Yeah, now I'm casting back on.
Well, maybe this would be the day when we say, if you have to, pull your work back, don't get disheartened. You can always start again.
Yeah, at my school, the person who taught how to knit said that the beautiful thing about knitting is that you can always restart.
That is true. That it's never.
It's not that beautiful because then I have to restart. She told that to me after I did like 50 rows on like a blanket or something.
Well, you don't waste the yarn, right? That's the beautiful thing. You don't waste it.
You don't waste anything. Wait a second. You don't really waste anything.
So Jolie, you're casting on again, huh?
Yeah, I'm casting on again.
Do you want to, just for review, flip your camera around and show us how to cast on, just as a quick review?
Yeah, I can. We'll see how this works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, make sure. Just do the same thing. Okay, so this is quick review. So, oh my gosh. Whoops.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, teach them.
All right, guys. Sorry, can I see James? Yeah. Okay. So,
Are you okay, Jolie?
yes, it was fine. It wasn't me. It was James knocked over a glass. It's okay. We'll clean it up. It's fine, guys. Don't worry.
Sorry.
So it's okay. It's our fault. I had just cast on a little bit, and I just started. So basically, what you do is you get your needle and you put it through just like you're about to knit, like we've learned. And you basically pull it through, and you knit, but you don't take this part off, and you just pull it through the red one like this, and you pull it. I pull it tightly. James does it a little looser, but I like to pull it tighter. And then you just do the same thing again, like you're about to knit. Go through it, but don't let it come off of the red one, and you pull through like that. And then you can repeat and go quicker once you get
that's a very good way to cast on, especially when you have started knitting. Now I used to do it that way.
Yeah, that's how James and I cast on.
Yeah, I was surprised that not very many people, when you go online, were actually casting it on that way. And I think it's a very easy way to do it at the beginning. But you know how to do the knitting now, so it's kind of easy,
Mm-hmm. So that's the way that James taught me. So, and I feel like it was easy because it kind of taught me how to knit again too. So it helped.
Yeah.
So Carolyn does it a different way. Carolyn, show them your way.
So what I do is that I try to think about like this. So what I do is that I have my long piece of string that's connected. What I do is I take 4 fingers, and I like to think about it like an ice cream, that I take my scooper, I scoop my ice cream, and I put it on the cone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you see, I was put it around the finger.
Well, that's cool. It's probably a lot faster too.
yeah.
Yeah, but the way that me and Jolie does it, it kind of like does a row for you. That way, like it's just casting on. Like it's when
I think that once you got the knitting, I think Jolie's way is pretty good.
When Julie's done casting on, you'll see like it looks like there's one row done.
See?
Yeah, see that? But if you look at Carolyn's, it's just like
it's just
yeah. But that's also okay because then she just keeps knitting and the rows come. It's just if you want to, like, I don't know, start with a row or something. Whatever makes more sense to you.
You see, I actually do cast on the way I was showing Donovan, and maybe that's the hard way. When I just make the loop on here, but I'm making the loop and I'm knitting it on the way. But it's similar to the way you do it, but you do it with the needle.
How do you do it again? I'm curious. So there's many different ways.
There are. It's surprising because if you look at people, it's interesting. There's at least those 3 and even more. When I was watching, if you go on YouTube, it's very interesting because some of them are so complicated. I can't see how you could possibly, there are much easier ways to cast on than these people are showing you. But, it's like just a lot of different ways. Now, once you've gotten it's a cast on that has all the varieties, not the stitches themselves, all the casting off. That's pretty standard for everybody.
Yeah, it's true. It really just depends on what you like too. And also, like I said, like since I needed a review for knitting when we first started, this helped me because like you do the same thing like I showed, you do the same wraparound and then you pull through, but only thing is that you don't pull through all the way.
Yeah. No, I think, in a sense, I'm losing. I think for a long time, that was the way I cast on. And then suddenly somebody, I don't know, sort of suggested trying the other way. And the only thing about the other way, it makes it very tight. The cast on is very firm, but this way I think is once you're, is a good way because it's just the same, except you're not, putting the stitch on instead of taking the stitch off.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll show you once I'm done. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 18, 19. You said 25? All right, 25. Well, casting on, does that count as a stitch? No, right?
Yeah,
When you're
the
cast-
first one. Yeah, I think so.
That's how you make stitches.
Oh, so we're making the stitches. Got it. I'm just curious what it was called. And if you were to do more stitches, like if you cast on more than 25, would it just be a longer?
It would be thicker.
It'd be thicker. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could almost, if you do, you could almost make a square by making it a bit longer both ways. You know, mine are actually not entirely regular, but I suppose when you come to stitch them all together, it's easier to stitch them together if they're pretty well, you know, the similar size. These ones, you see this one, when you do that, you know, one knit row, one purl row, it's kind of curly. So I think I'll have to press that. Seems that, oh, maybe it's just that it was finer wool, but I thought I'd have to just press that out to get it the same size.
Yeah.
And I think when you start purling is when you should start writing down like what row you're on, because if you knit 2 in a row, then there'll be like a random row of knitting in your square. So you might want to write down whenever you stop if you're purl or knit.
A bad idea, yeah. So that if you put it down, you know which row to start on when you pick it up.
And it'll get you used to writing down rows. So once you start doing harder stuff, you can
Just get used to it, yeah.
James, that's how you get that pattern, like the negative spaces. When you created that sort of diamond shape, you had to.
Yeah, I used the book, and then I copied and I like went to a printer and copied the one page, and then I just kept that one page, and I used different color pens to like cross it out or write numbers next to it, and yeah. I use the same paper.
I find it's the most difficult thing when you're doing patterns is getting the numbers right. You know, like you do knit so many and do that, and then I find that for me that's the hardest thing. I like repetitive patterns so that once I get the sequence in my head, I just keep on doing it, because if I have to count constantly every row, I get very frustrated, and then if you're one stitch off, it's very, you know.
Yeah, I was one stitch off a little bit of times, a couple of times, and like the diamond looks really stupid. So.
Yeah, it's very, and that's not my strength. That's why I say if I you know, when I knit little blankets for like christening and so on, I make like a lacy pattern, and it's like 6 different rows that are pretty simple, and they just repeat, and that's fine. But if it's a very intricate pattern and you really do have to be spot on the right numbers, I find that a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But like James said, the recipient of that beautiful blanket he made was a baby, and she didn't mind at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The soft, pretty pink blanket to her.
Yeah, it was super soft. I like that yarn.
What kind of yarn was that you used in that beautiful pink blanket?
I'm pretty sure it was baby blanket yarn. Like it was like some soft baby blanket yarn. It was.
They have
that be, Valerie?
Well, they do have it usually in the delicate colors, white and pinks and light blues, and it is sort of specially made because it's very fine, isn't it, James? You know, like,
yeah, it was like it's like maybe this thin or a little thinner than the one that we're using.
Right, I've got one somewhere semi-made in my here that I never finished, because what happened at the church was we're not having many christenings, and they have quite a few, but we're having a lot of people needing shawls, so. I, you know, kind of stopped knitting the white ones and been knitting the shawls, because they seem to be coming in and going out. Yeah. Which is good if people need them, actually. Yeah, and that they're available. But I like knitting the you know, the thin wool on thin needles. I find, I don't know, I'm not wild about knitting, you know, on these massive needles like some people. But you knit quick. The thing, you know, you can knit a shawl in next to no time. You know, it's good in that respect.
Yeah, the needles I used were super thin, and they had a little clear wire from the bottom of them connected so that the blanket could fit and it would like wrap around.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, that's something. That was like the circular needle? Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, similar to that, because a lot of people are very, you know, they love those circular needles, and for certain things they're fabulous. But for everyday knitting, I find them I'd rather have a straight needle. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
once like when you're first starting, it's super annoying because they like wrap around and like go into a circular formation. But once you have like a bit of a heavy thing on the bottom, they're really good because they
It's
just
good. Yeah, because I know, I mean, I don't think here that people are, but I know, I mean, one time, I mean, it was like everybody was knitting on circular needles, you know, I mean, it was the way to knit. I like the bamboo needles. Those are my favorites.
Okay, so this is how my purling is looking right now.
Perfect. I was just going to ask you for that, James.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, perfect.
I just
Yeah,
wrapped it.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
I might go and try to see if I can find the circular needles really quick.
Yeah, to show, yeah. I'll go back to knitting and purling.
Yeah, as of now, I just finished my casting, so now I'm just knitting my first row, and then I'm gonna try to purl again.
Okay, I'll knit with you, and then we can do a purl row together.
Okay, perfect.
You know, this is fine. Can you see if I show you? This is really rather nice. I don't know. Put it up by your face, but it's what would you say? It's not straight wool at all. It's got like a yeah, and it's really nice to knit, and it just, I don't know. It's just fun to knit with. I like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make a difference.
So the bag that I used for knitting was this from the old Wednesday.
That's so crazy.
It was it's the church knitting bag.
Wow.
Oh, have that.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I have mine too, actually.
Oh, good girl. Good.
Nice, yeah.
It's weird. So I do not know what I was knitting here, but I could probably figure it
Reverend
out.
Barbara would be very happy to see that you still have those. She ordered those bags.
I know. It's just
Okay,
very...
so
That knitting was so fun when we were little.
actually, I think I had to give my teacher back those needles.
Oh, really?
I might have one of the patterns.
So like he had these papers where he had like these different
the patterns and everything.
Oh, yeah, that's one of them.
Oh my gosh, yes. But that's that's a really good idea, because if you make a copy like that, you can actually mark it, rather than use the book to mark the book. I've never
So I would use like different color of pens. I had about I probably used 10 of these papers. My first one was way like red, purples, like different. And then I think right here I'm knitting, this was from like over a year ago, but I think I'm knitting like, what is this? Oh, I know what it is. So it's a stocking for Christmas. Like, can you see it?
Oh, yes, that's pretty. Yes, I like it.
Good.
You've got design in there. Yes, yes.
Pearl.
Yeah.
Pearl.
Knitting club at church.
This is from,
I'm thinking, I'm being a bit nostalgic, and I'm thinking it's like, and this is the back. Do you remember the days when we used to go to the church and have the clubs and all? Like,
yeah, these needles are really
That'll be in the future. I promise.
Oh, I know. It's just amazing, isn't it? When you don't go
We'll
there.
appreciate it so much more in the future than we ever have in the past.
You're right. There's a lot of things that we've taken for granted forever, isn't it? Now it's going to be like, oh. So I'm going to do my purl row now.
Yep.
Are you ready, Jolie?
Yep.
Okay. Make sure you have your wool at the front.
Mm-hmm. I made a quick mistake, so I'm just trying to figure it out.
I think after Jolie has shown us her rows, purl and regular, we should kind of wind it up, because I think we're at about 35, 40 minutes. So whenever you think we're ready to kind of wind it up.
It's been enjoyable. Knitting, socializing knitting.
Well, that's fun too, though. That's part of it.
You ready?
Yeah, it's fine. Just take
Good to see all of you.
Yeah, I'm just going to do the purl and
Through.
He's teaching me purling again.
okay, it's like anything. Once you get that flow and the hang of it, it's easy. But just
Ouch. Oh my god.
Got it.
It's just like doing maths. When you get it, you get it.
I'm just trying to figure out if I just knit a row, if I purled a row. I literally forgot after telling you guys to write it down.
Well, show this. Look, James, the side. If you've done a purl row, you'll have the ribbing facing you. Have you got any? Have you just cast on?
No. So right now I have the pretty side facing me. What does that mean?
The knit row. Should be a knit row.
Okay, yeah, I remember learning that. I just totally forgot.
Because I'm purling and I've got the rib.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So when I finish that and I change around, it'll be the knit row. So because you have two different looking sides.
Through this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. I actually think
How are you doing, Carolyn?
Yeah, Carolyn, how are you doing?
Okay. I mean,
Just trying to figure out.
basic knitting. So, can we start all again?
Be quiet, little dog. Teddy, be quiet.
Super cute.
It's okay that I have a question really quickly. How do I get the first like knot onto like
Personal.
I could teach a pretty quick way to do it.
Sorry, Gene, I know we're gonna go a little overtime for this lesson.
Here, wait, I need a piece of yarn.
James taught me this way and it was so fast and easy.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do it with the tail of this. So this is what you do. So what you do is you want to make a little anymore. You make a little circle with the yarn, going over the other yarn, going to the left.
Okay.
And then you make another little one of the exact same thing going to the left.
Okay.
With the string that's from this one, you go the exact same thing. And then you take the little one and you put it inside the big one, and you make sure you don't lose the little tail, and you grab both of them and then slip knot.
Well, that's great. That's
and then
great.
And then just put that on your needle and pull it, and it'll go on.
One more time.
A little one.
Yeah.
James.
So what you do is you make a little circle with the yarn going over this yarn. This yarn's on the bottom. This yarn's on the top, going to the left. You make the exact same circle over here, a little smaller, with it going on the top, the other yarn on the bottom. Then you want to put the little one inside the big one and grab the little one with the string and the tail, so both, and you pull. And then you can put that right on your needle, pull, and then done. And if you want to pull, it just comes off.
Pretty cool.
Cool. Thank you.
I think you can also have a longer piece there, because you got a very short tail there, but you could have a longer tail, right?
Yeah, this is the tail of my, I don't know why I made it so long, but I like shorter tails better, because then sometimes I knit with the tail and then get mad and restart, and then yeah.
But I like a reasonable amount so I can sew it in, after.
Yeah. You guys use it. You guys
But just
use
a
it to
little
sew
longer,
with your
so don't be afraid that you're going to lose it. Just a little bit more, like an inch or something.
I'm almost done with my purl row, and then we can show. Miss Valerie, when if you were to do, I think we actually talked about this, I'm not 100% sure, one knit and then one purl, what would that make? Would that be a mess?
She just showed it.
To hold them.
You could do this. You get like a ribbing, and I haven't got anything here, I'll show you. But if I do like now, I went this, no, it wouldn't, but you do it the whole row, you know, you do a whole row, knit, pearl, right?
Yeah.
No, don't try it yet. Try it.
Yeah, you're so fast. Look at how fast she's going.
What the heck?
You know what? You know when you have a sweater and you've got like a ribbing on the bottom of it, so it stretches. If you look at it, if it's a knitted sweater, it's knitted like one knit, one pearl. And whether that gives it a tension.
Your needles are so long.
I'm just doing a row, but the thing is, as you have to, like, I do one row to the end, and then when I turn it around.
Are those needles long so you can put them in your armpit like that?
Oh no, they're just normal like needles from.
Oh, it looks like they're normal. Ours are small, I think.
No, they are not. They're not the shorty ones. You know, like these are shorty ones.
Yeah.
But these are just the average ones from Michael's. You know, I mean, but it's just that I have no idea who told me. I think it must have been my grandmother years ago. But it's like I'm sort of like wish I could find other people that knit this way so I could understand. But and then when you go back, like the next row, you have to make sure you can. I mean, it's not let you like. I did a pearl, then I knit, so it's the same. And then now I did a pearl. And now I done
cool. Pearl knit.
How about you learn how to pearl good first?
That's true.
Oh, there's two. Oh, now I've dropped a stitch. No, it's okay.
But yeah, so this is my finished pearl row. I'm knit pearl, and it looks kind of cool.
This side is the good side. You're showing them.
I'm showing them that side. Whoops.
Yeah, that's right. That's the good side. Yeah, pretty. Yeah, you've got it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep practicing with it. So.
Yeah, but. You know, so that, you know, it's all to do with those two stitches. And this one, I mean, James will get this. The way one ribbing, you must, like every knit is a knit stitch, every pearl is a pearl stitch. But on this one, you alternate. So that one row you do, you know, like knit, pearl, and then the next row you do pearl, knit, pearl, knit. So you get another different pattern.
Yeah, I think that's
it's only using a pearl and a knit stitch.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that one.
Well, you know, do it because you'll find it, you know, I mean, the only thing, as I say, if you finish with a knit stitch, then you start with a pearl stitch and you get that lovely moss pattern. And if you don't, you'll just get a normal ribbing, which I'm doing now. But I think that moss stitch is a nice pattern to, you know, just.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Time to time.
Yeah, it looks cool. And to change it up sometimes.
Well, you know, you can do all sorts of fun things because you can make stripes. You know, I mean, like, for instance, when I did the college shawls, you know, sometimes, you know, you can put colors in, or you can do like a section of all knitting and then a section of knitting and pearl. So you get a kind of a stripy effect from the different styles of this, you know, which it breaks up the plainness sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, all of you. Have we shown everything? We've shown the purling, we taught the purling today.
Yeah. And we showed them how to cast on again, just so those
Yes, a review.
So, refresher. And then you have to do the knit, and the knitting with the pearl. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and then James showed his little trick for the, what is that? The first
doing the first stitch.
Yeah.
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 So thank you all. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you all. All
right. See you guys all next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Keep knitting.
Yep. Keep knitting. Bye.
Bye.